In Ireland, Christmas is not a memory forged in stone and fire, where ancient rituals and Christian devotion did not clash, but rather intertwined in a sacred braid. Long before they heard of Bethlehem, the Celtic ancestors already revered the solstice as the great return of light, and in New Grinch, a tomb older than the pyramids, the winter sunrise already heralded the resurrection. This is not a simple tale of how faith replaced folklore. It is the story of a silent miracle, the profound union of the old and the new. From the darkness of Samhain, the Celtic gateway to winter, to the arrival of the child in a manger, the Irish journey and ancestral journey, let's discover a Christmas ware. The candles in the window are a beacon for both the Holy Family and the ancestors. The holly and ivy in the fireplace carry meanings of Celtic protection and eternal life. Hospitality is not just kindness, but a sacred law. Born from survival in winter, prepare to enter a world where holiness is found at the kitchen table. Myth lives in legends told by the firelight, and faith is felt, not just in hymn, but in the return of every child of the diaspora. Irish Christmas is not just a celebration, it's a heritage. And it's time to unwrap it. Long before Ireland knew the name of Christ, the island's people already marked the seasons with fire, song, and ceremony. They watched the sun die and rise again, not in fear, but in reverence. Their calendar was not built around days of shopping or feast days of saints, but around the sacred wheel of the year, where the solstice, not December 25th, was the turning point. And yet, when Christianity came to Ireland, it did not destroy what was, it transformed it. This is the quiet miracle of the Irish Christmas. It is a fusion where ancient Celtic rites walk hand in hand with Christian devotion. From Samhain the gateway to winter and the season of the dead, to Bethlehem, the birthplace of light, the Irish journey through darkness to find meaning, carrying both the cross and the stone circle in their hearts. The earliest Irish Christians were monks and poets, not conquerors. They lived in harmony with the land and its rhythms. As they adopted the story of Christ's birth, they wove it into existing traditions rather than erase them. The result is a celebration that feels at once mystical and rooted, divine and domestic. For example, in pre-Christian Ireland, the winter solstice, usually around December 21st, was a sacred time. At New Grinch, an ancient passage tomb older than the pyramids, the rising sun on the solstice morning shines through a narrow roof box and illuminates the central chamber. This moment, when light enters the womb of stone, was seen as rebirth, resurrection, the promise of life after death. Sound familiar? It's no coincidence that Christmas was eventually fixed close to this date. The story of the Christ child arriving as a light in the world found deep resonance in the Celtic soul, already attuned to the cosmic dance of shadow and sunrise. In Ireland, the birth of Jesus was not just a religious event, it became a celestial metaphor. Another thread that connects the old to the new is the reverence for the mother, the Celtic goddess Bridget, associated with healing, fertility, and protection, was so beloved that early Christians transformed her into Saint Bridget, and during Christmas, Irish devotion to Mary, the Mother of Christ, often echoes older rituals of feminine divinity, seen in the quiet lighting of candles, the blessings of the hearth, and the special role women play in preserving tradition during the season. Even the custom of welcoming visitors during Christmas has roots in ancient Irish law. Hospitality was a sacred duty. To turn away a traveler, especially during the cold, dangerous nights of winter, was to bring dishonor and bad luck. Christianity did not erase this value. It deepened Italiano. The story of Mary and Joseph seeking shelter resonated powerfully with a people who already knew that a warm fire and an open door could save a life. In villages and towns, this sense of hospitality becomes tangible during Advent. Neighbors check in on the elderly. Local choirs sing carols, not just in churches, but in the open air, where strangers can join. Farmers donate food to parishes. Children perform small plays and pageants. The communal spirit, born from survival in ancient times, finds new life in the gospel's message of love and service. Even decorations reflect the merging of worlds. The holly and ivy, still used in homes across Ireland, were once Celtic symbols of protection and resilience. The evergreens stood defiant against winter's barrenness. Christianity imbued them with new meaning, eternal life, the blood of Christ, the persistence of faith. In rural homes, it's not uncommon to find a crucifix beside a sun-shaped carving or a nativity scene next to a Celtic knot. These are not contradictions. They are echoes, proof that the Irish heart has always known how to carry more than one truth, how to layer meanings like stories in a song. So when the bells ring out in Dublin or Galway, or when a candle flickers in a farmhouse in Tipperary, they are not just celebrating a single night in Bethlehem, they are honoring a long walk through darkness. From druidic prayers to angelic choirs, from standing stones to church pews. And in this merging, this sacred braid of ancient and new, the Irish find not conflict, but continuity. Because for them, Christmas has never just been about birth. It has always been about returning to the light. When the winter wind moves across the Irish hills, it carries more than cold. It carries memory, prayer, a quiet sense of something ancient, drawing close. And on Christmas Eve, in homes across Ireland, this presence takes form in rituals by firelight, in whispered carols, in masses lit by candleglow. Here, the religious side of Christmas is not loud or ceremonial. It's intimate, almost woven into the bones of the season. Catholicism in Ireland is not just practiced in churches, it's felt in kitchens, held in hands, and passed down like lullabies. For many Irish families, the journey toward Christmas is a sacred one, marked by small acts of preparation. Each Sunday of Advent, a new candle is lit on the Advent wreath, its soft glow spreading hope into darkened corners. Children recite prayers taught by grandparents, and stories of saints are revisited not as legends, but as reminders that holiness can be quiet, eben ordinary. Then comes Christmas Eve, the spiritual heart of the season. Earlier in the day, homes are cleaned, the best linens laid, and the crib, the nativity scene, is placed in its rightful corner. Yet the baby Jesus figure is kept hidden. He will only be placed in the manger at midnight, when the Mass has been said, and the miracle declared. Until then, the stable remains waiting, expectant, like the hearts of the faithful. The most beloved tradition of the night is Misa Nanoleg, or Midnight Mass. As darkness settles, towns and villages begin to stir with sacred movement. Bells toll through the still air. Families, wrapped in scarves and coats, make their way through the streets, often on foot, hand in hand, their breath visible in the cold. In Somaton's torches or lanterns light the path to church, evoking the old image of pilgrims heading towards something holy. In the city's cathedrals fill with sound, choirs singing in Latin, English, and occasionally Gaelic, the ancient language that still carries the weight of centuries. In rural chapels, things are quieter. A few instruments, simple harmonious, a priest who knows every face in the room. But no matter the place, the feeling is the same: reverence, awe, and a sense of homecoming. The Mass begins in darkness. Then, one by one, candles are lit. The Nativity is blessed, readings are shared, and the Gospel, the story of the Christ child's birth, is proclaimed with profound gentleness. There is often silence after this reading, a space where nothing is said because everything has been felt. In some churches, a child is chosen to carry the baby Jesus figurine to the crib. It is placed there with care, surrounded by figures of Mary, Joseph, shepherds, and angels. And sometimes, behind the altar, a simple star is lit, not blinking or flashing, just shining steadily, reminding the congregation the light has come. After Mass, families linger. Some visit cribs in nearby churches, a custom known as crib hopping. Others return home for a warm drink or one last hymn sung beside the fireplace. The baby Jesus is placed in the home nativity. For many, this moment, quiet, sacred, and deeply personal, is more meaningful than the gifts that will come the next day. And while modern life has changed much with online shopping, plastic trees, and imported customs, this moment has endured. Midnight Mass remains a cornerstone. Even those who rarely attend church find themselves returning for this one night. It's not about obligation. It's about belonging. Beyond the formal rituals, there are gestures steeped in quiet spirituality. A family might say a rosary together before bed, An elderly couple might read the Christmas story aloud from a weathered Bible. Children might be invited to light a special candle for someone who has passed a practice that blends remembrance with prayer. In Ireland, faith is often unspoken, but deeply held. And at Christmas, it becomes visible not in grand processions or extravagant displays, but in the warmth of a fire, the simplicity of bread and wine, the voice of a lone singer in a stone church. Because for the Irish, holiness is not about spectacle, it's about presence. And on this night, more than any other, they believe the sacred draws near. In Ireland, Christmas isn't confined to churches or city squares. It lives in fireplaces, in old folk tales whispered after supper, and in the lingering belief that this time of year when nights are longest is also when the veil between worlds grows thinnest. Here, folklore does not compete with faith. It walks beside it, holding a lantern in one hand and a bundle of stories in the other. As families gather around turf fires, the warmth does more than comfort. It awakens memory. Elders lean forward in armchairs, pint in hand. Children nestled at their feet, and the stories begin. One such tale tells of a traveling couple seeking shelter on a bitter winter night, turned away by rich landowners, but welcomed by a poor farmer who gave them bread in a place by the fire. By morning, the couple had vanished, but the farmhouse was bathed in light, and the farmer's field bloomed, despite the frost. The tale, clearly echoing the journey of Mary and Joseph, is told with Celtic flavor, reminding listeners that generosity is always rewarded, and that divinity may come in disguise. Another belief says that on Christmas Eve, animals are granted the gift of speech at midnight. Though few claim to have heard it, many a child has crept downstairs or peeked into stables, hoping to catch a cow or dog in conversation. This playful legend stems from a deeper truth, that nature is sacred, and during Christmas, everything that breathes takes part in the miracle. The fireplace itself is more than warmth, it's a symbol of welcome. In the past, a log was set to burn through the night on Christmas Eve, not just for heat, but as a beacon to the Holy Family, and as a spiritual invitation for wandering souls, ancestors, and those without a home. Even now, in rural homes, some leave a small fire burning overnight, an echo of older beliefs that this night should never be dark or cold. Many also leave doors unlocked during Christmas night, or at least slightly ajar. This isn't carelessness, it's hospitality to spirits, to strangers, to the Christ child himself. In ancient times, the door was believed to be the threshold between the seen and unseen world. And on this sacred night, it was customary to welcome all presences, Shane or unshane, with dignity and light. Children are often told of fairies watching from the hedgerows, or of thin places where one might cross over into the realm of spirit. On Christmas, it's said that these fairies become benevolent, offering blessings to those who show kindness. Though playful, these legends instill a lasting value, that gentleness matters, and that, in this season, even the invisible world listens. There's also the belief that on Christmas Eve, no soul dies. The departed, even those on the brink, are said to be met by ancestors or angels who ensure they are not alone. For Irish families with loved ones nearing death around this time, this legend brings comfort, a sense that no one crosses over without being carried. These stories, while fantastical, serve a purpose. They connect generations, offering warmth beyond the fire, meaning beyond the material. They make children curious, elders nostalgic, and everyone just a bit more open to the mystery of the season. And if you visit a home in Donegal or Kerry or Cork this time of year, you may still hear them. You may still see a grandmother light a candle not just for Christ, but for the good people, or a grandfather drop a crust of bread into the fire for those who hunger on the other side of the veil. Because in Ireland, Christmas is not a closed room. It's an open door to saints and to strangers, to memory and to myth. Two stories that flicker like flames never quite gone, always waiting to be told again. And in every tale, no matter how strange or sacred, is the same soft truth. Light belongs to everyone. If you're enjoying it, engage with us. Like, share your thoughts in the comments, and follow World Traditions so we can keep creating more videos. Irish Christmas meals are not about grandeur. They are not meticulously plated or dressed in they are honest, heartfelt, and steeped in family memory. To sit at an Irish Christmas table is to be welcomed into a world where food carries emotion, where every dish tells a story, and where hospitality is a quiet act of love. The feast begins long before the meal is served. In the weeks leading up to Christmas, Irish kitchens hum with preparation. Mothers and grandmothers begin soaking fruit in whiskey or stout, preparing for the traditional Christmas pudding. This dense, dark dessert, steamed for hours and aged to perfection, is not just a sweet treat, it is an heirloom passed down in flavor and ritual. The stirring of the pudding is often a communal event. Each family member takes a turn, making a wish as they swirl the mixture clockwise. It's said to bring good fortune and to ensure that no one is forgotten in the coming year. Alongside the pudding comes the Christmas cake, a rich, spiced fruitcake, often topped with a thick layer of marzipan and white icing, decorated with holly sprigs or miniature nativity scenes. It's a cake that lasts a season, sliced generously for guests, postmen, and anyone who happens by. On Christmas Eve, the meal is lighter, often featuring smoked salmon, brown bread, or a bowl of hearty vegetable soup. The focus isn't on indulgence, but on togetherness, with a table set more for spirit than for show. But it's on Christmas Day that the true feast unfolds. At the center is usually a roast, often turkey, though goose or ham remain favorites in many homes. The meat is basted in butter and herbs, roasted slowly to perfection, and often accompanied by stuffing made with sage, onion, and breadcrumbs, crisped at the edges and soft at the heart. The table fills with roasted potatoes, buttery and golden boiled carrots, parsnips, and Brussels sprouts, tossed in sea salt and sometimes bacon. Bowls of cranberry sauce and gravy, thick and savory, are passed with care. It is a meal that does not rush. Between courses, stories are told. Children recite poems or perform songs. A toast is made to those who cannot be present, with glasses raised high and eyes sometimes glistening. This is a moment when the room fills not just with aromas, but with ancestral presence, generations remembered in the dishes they once prepared. No Irish Christmas table is complete without mince pies, small, flaky pastries filled with spiced fruit and served warm, often with a dollop of cream. These are shared throughout the day, alongside pots of tea or small measures of Baileys or Irish whiskey, depending on the hour and the company. Later, the Christmas pudding is brought to the table, doused in brandy and set alight. The blue flame dances briefly before disappearing, leaving behind the scent of caramel and tradition. A coin or small trinket may be hidden inside another, linked to old superstitions and festive luck. Yet even in the richness, there is humility. What matters is not the perfection of the roast or the symmetry of the cake. What matters is that everyone is welcome, that there is room at the table even for the unexpected guest. In some homes, an extra place is set not just for the symbolic Christ child, but for anyone in need or for a loved one lost but remembered. In this way, the meal becomes sacramental, not through consecration, but through community. It becomes a table of belonging, where stories are served alongside soup, and where laughter is as important as the main course. The Irish table does not need fanfare, it needs only people. And through this meal, simple, sacred, and shared, the spirit of Christmas is made real, not in theory, but in taste, time, and touch. Because here, food is not just nourishment, it is memory made edible. In the hush after Christmas Day, when wrapping paper has settled and the fire burns low, Ireland awakens to something far more ancient, a tradition that pulses with rhythm, costume, and communal spirit. December 26th, known elsewhere as Boxing Day, is in Ireland St. Stephen's Day, but to many, it is more affectionately remembered as Wren de la Andria. This peculiar and storied celebration, practiced most vibrantly in rural communities and along the western coast, especially in County Kerry, blends pagan ritual, Christian remembrance, and folk theatre in a single day, where tradition walks the streets. The centerpiece of the custom is the figure of the wren, a small bird steeped in folklore. In Celtic mythology, the wren was considered the king of all birds, clever and sacred, a symbol of inspiration and seasonal change. Yet, one Christian folktale says that a wren betrayed St. Stephen to his enemies, earning the bird its fate as a target for ritual hunting. Historically, groups of Wren Boys, young men dressed in straw and colorful costumes, would roam from house to house, carrying a holly bush with a captured or symbolic wren atop. They played fiddles and tin whistles, beat drums, and sang a well-known rhyme. The wren, the king of all birds. St. Stephen's Day was caught in the furs. Up with a kettle and down with a pan. Give us a penny to bury the wren. While the original practice of capturing a real bird has faded, replaced today by feathers or figurines, the ritual performance remains a procession of music, disguise, and dance. Locals give coins, drinks, or sweets in exchange for the song, and the money collected is often donated to charity or used to host a community gathering. In towns like Dingle, the tradition becomes a full-day event with troops of Wren Boys in elaborate masks parading through the streets, each group representing a different part of town, playing traditional Irish tunes, while the community joins in with laughter, storytelling, and shared pride. Children follow the musicians, elderly couples wave from doorways, and the cold of winter is softened by human warmth and ancient memory. But Wren Day is more than just pageantry. It is a ritual of inversion and release. After the solemnity of Christmas Mass and the intimacy of family meals, this day offers a space to play, to mourn through celebration, to let go through rhythm. In Many Walls, it channels the old Celtic festivals where masks allowed people to shift identities and connect with the spiritual world. Alongside the Wren Boys tradition, music continues to weave its magic through the Irish Christmas season. Caroling, though familiar around the world, takes a uniquely soulful turn in Ireland. Traditional Irish carols like Done, Oich Didi, I Am Bethil, That Night in Bethlehem, are sung in the Gaelic language, often by candlelight, in schools, churches, or around the family piano. Local choirs fill town halls with choral arrangements that mix sacred hymns with Irish folk melodies. In pubs, spontaneous sing-alongs erupt. Someone begins Fairy Tale of New York or The Parting Glass, and before long, the entire room is singing. Some with perfect pitch, others off-key, but all with the same unapologetic heart. These songs, whether solemn or celebratory, carry themes of homecoming, memory, loss, and hope. They speak of long winters and warm returns, of families torn apart and stitched together again by time and song. In a country that has known emigration and longing, the sound of voices rising together becomes not just entertainment, it becomes healing. And so, the days after Christmas do not grow quiet in Ireland. They shift tone, from sacred stillness to spirited movement, from prayer to performance, from solitude to shared sound, because here, even the winter wind carries rhythm. Even the silence knows how to sing. And in the echo of footsteps on cobbled streets, the distant beat of a or the high lilt of a fiddle under a December sky, the Irish find what they always have: a way to remember, a way to belong, and a way to begin again. For many Irish families, the most sacred part of Christmas is not found beneath the tree or on the dinner table. It est in the front door opening, in the embrace that follows, in the moment when someone comes home. Ireland is a land marked by departure. Over centuries, waves of emigration due to famine, war, or economic hardship carried millions of Irish sons and daughters to far-off lands, to Boston and Brooklyn, to Sydney, Toronto, and London. But no matter how far they went, Christmas remained a thread pulling them back. Physically, for the lucky; spiritually, for all. In December, Irish airports become scenes of reunion. Families gather with signs, scarves, and teary smiles at Dublin Airport or Shannon, waiting for children returning from universities abroad, for siblings who left for work, or for cousins who moved to the other side of the world. These homecomings are not just logistical. They are emotional ceremonies. They restore something lost, even if only for a few days. In rural towns, cars pull into gravel driveways, boots crunching frost, doors swinging open to shouts of your home. In kitchens, an extra bed is made up, and an old coat is taken down from the back of the door. The kettle is boiled, the stories begin, and Christmas officially starts. But not everyone can return. For many, the memory of those who left and never came back becomes part of the season. Photographs are placed near the presepio. Toasts are made with quiet reverence. A letter or postcard from Chicago, Vancouver, or Melbourne is read aloud at the table. These gestures, though small, anchored the absent, making them part of the gathering, part of the light. Ireland's relationship with emigration is complex. It carries pride, pain, and longing. Christmas deepens all of these, and yet, even in sorrow, there is beauty. Take the tradition of writing letters or making calls on Christmas Day. It's a practice held dear, where siblings across oceans speak across time zones, sharing mass, times, menus, and memories. Modern technology now means video calls replace crackly phone lines, but the sentiment remains the same. Yuri, still part of this. In Irish pubs during Christmas week, one can hear conversations between generations. Your granda came back for one Christmas in '74, just after the snows. Or your auntie would sing that song every year when she was back from Canada. These are not just anecdotes. They are oral altars, offerings to the enduring connection between land and lineage. There is also the custom of sending care packages. Irish families send tins of biscuits, handmade sweaters, sacred medals, or bits of turf to loved ones abroad, reminders of a homeland that still remembers. And in return, packages arrive with foreign candies, photos of new homes, letters filled with longing and affection. It is a Christmas without borders, stitched together by love and intention. For those who have never been able to return, the stories told during Christmas become a form of spiritual reunion. Parents tell children of their cousin in Australia, of their grandmother in County Clare, of the farm in Mayo now owned by someone else, and through these stories, the diaspora is woven back into the fabric of the season. There's a phrase often heard in Ireland during Christmas: all hearts come home at Christmas. Sometimes that homecoming is physical, sometimes it's a phone call, and sometimes it's a memory flickering in candlelight, spoken in song, or stirred into a pot of soup, made just the way someone far away used to love. In a country where memory lives in everything, in music, in food, in stone and soil, Christmas becomes the one time of year when all those pieces are gathered in one place. The table might not be full, but the room is never empty, because through ritual, through remembrance, and through the soft ache of longing, everyone returns. And that is perhaps Ireland's greatest Christmas miracle. Not that no one ever leaves, but that no one is ever forgotten. As the Irish Christmas season draws to a close, and the final embers fade in the hearth, there is one light that remains: the candle in the window, still glowing softly against the winter dark. Long after the tree is taken down, long after the songs have quieted, that single flame lingers, a symbol of endurance, welcome, and hope. For centuries, that candle has held meaning beyond its size. It says, you are not alone. There is still warmth here. Come in from the cold. And that message doesn't end with Christmas Day. It carries forward right through to Noleg na Mban Women's Christmas, celebrated on January 6th. On this day, traditionally, the women who worked so tirelessly throughout the holidays are honored. They rest, gather, and celebrate each other. It is a fitting close to the season, not with more fanfare, but with recognition, respect, and quiet power. This gesture, like so many others in Ireland's Christmas season, is small but full of meaning. Whether it's placing holly on a grave, lighting a match for the pudding, or singing just one more verse of a half-forgotten song, every act becomes a thread in a greater tapestry. That's the truth of an Irish Christmas. It's not grand, it's not loud, it's not designed to impress. It's built to hold memory, sorrow, joy, people. It holds those who came home. It holds those who couldn't. It holds those we lost and those we're still becoming. It holds you wherever you are. So tonight, if you pass by an Irish home and see a faint light in the window, know this: it is for you too. It is for anyone searching for peace, for meaning, for a place where even in silence, you are remembered. And if this journey through Ireland's Celtic Christmas touched your heart, help us keep this flame alive. Like this video if you believe in the beauty of shared tradition. Comment below where you're rewatching from, and tell us, what light do you carry in your family's Christmas? Subscribe to World Traditions and join us as we continue exploring the spirit of the season. Country by country, light by light, tomorrow we journey again. But tonight, the candle still burns.